Thank you, Kate, and welcome to Ottawa, everyone, on the front end of a CFL triple header. It's the Ottawa REDBLACKS back in action at a place they have not been beaten so far this year, and looking forward to playing against the Toronto Argonauts after the longest road trip they've had in franchise history, all the way out to Victoria, BC, and they are right back here at TD Place now. Marshall Ferguson, Dwayne Ford, Claire Hanna at field level for us here throughout the afternoon to get you set in a triple header as Darius Pickett. It's rivalry week, it seems like, across the CFL, but also revenge week after what William Stanback did. Well, Darius Pickett, you're up.
That's it, playing against the team for which he was the most outstanding defensive player in the East a year ago. He looks to give them a taste of what he's brought to Ottawa this season, and of course, #1 guy trying to get it done for the Toronto Argonauts. Their quarterback, Chad Kelly, making his third start of the season. As you heard the panel mention, over 300 yards in each of the previous two.
Ryan Dinwiddie trying to get his club back on track after the loss against the Hamilton Tiger Cats back on Labor Day Monday. A short week, not a lot of practice reps for the Toronto Argonauts. And for Bob Dice, man, he has been rolling 5-0-1 at home. Really believes in this group. Shaking up the roster a little bit this week as well, alongside, of course, the general manager, Sean Burke, changing out the running backs as Reichel Almstead is no longer with the club and Jamal Morrow signed onto the roster. But it'll be the Toronto Argonauts getting possession first as Toronto chose tails off the top of the coin toss. It was heads. Ottawa wins. They deferred to the second half. Toronto gets the football and will look to set the tone here early on as the Ottawa REDBLACKS this year just 1-1 against the East. They got a ton of football games against the East from now until the playoffs begin. And it begins right now with Janarian Grant on the return in slick conditions at TD Place. Makes his way out to the 36-yard line, and we get a chance to see Chad Kelly here in Ottawa.
Offside, Ottawa number 89, 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Well, we'll have to wait to see Chad Kelly come back because Chad Kelly was waving everybody back onto the sideline there. Marco Dubois was one of the heroes of Touchdown Pacific for the Ottawa REDBLACKS and always one of the best special teamers in the CFL. Little fired up to get this one going, offside on the opening kickoff, so he's got to run again.
Yeah, Argos looking to improve their field position here, obviously, by taking that penalty. Pushing the REDBLACKS back a little bit.
I'd love to make a special teams unit run twice when I've got Janarian Grant back there as well. Like, give him a second touch. They were at the 36-yard line after the initial return. Janarian Grant is standing right now with his heels on the 25-yard line. So an 11-yard return from where he stands now, they'll already have better field position. Let's see what Richie Leone can do with this kickoff. He hammers it right down the middle. Grant catches it at his own 22-yard line, crosses that 36 and much more, and it works out for the Argonauts all the way up to the 47-yard line as we see Chad Kelly in action against the Hamilton Tiger Cats 4 days ago.
Yeah, and obviously positives and negatives in that ball game for Chad Kelly. Early on, the negative of an interception thrown in that game, but overall, Kelly ends up completing 80% of his passes. Throws that touchdown pass that you just saw to Tavares Daniels, using his legs a little bit to get things done. So starting to settle in, but as mentioned, sort of that rocky start.
Well, first and 10, Kelly gets hit as he throws outside, incomplete, looking for David Unger as they give him a nice little smack to get going. Here's the rest of the Argonauts offense that surrounds Kelly.
Yeah, Ryan Hunter is out of the lineup on that offensive line, preparing for the birth of his first child. Dylan Giffen gets that start at left guard. In the receiving corps, Tavares Daniels had been a game-time decision. He's out. Tommy Neal to get a few more reps out of the slot as a result.
The Argonauts in those icy white uniforms here on the road will play 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Kelly to the outside, rips this one. It's complete. And Devontae Coxie gets his first touch of the ball game as they'll spot it just shy of the first down marker.
Coxie lining out wide here. His traditional position to the boundary side.
Well, they were ready to go quickly offensively here, Dwayne, as we see Coxie's work against Brandon Dandridge, one of the best coverage defensive backs in the CFL. Kelly wanted to go quickly. They didn't, and now it looks like the punting unit comes off the sideline as Mickey Donovan, the special teams coordinator, sends them out late as we see Tavares Daniels wandering around in the rain at TD Place.
Yeah, and an opportunity here around midfield with John Haggerty, who has been so good this year in terms of his placement of the ball. really get a field position advantage early on.
7 kicks inside the 10 this year, leads the CFL. This one won't, but a good job by the coverage unit to make sure there's minimal return on the play. Out comes Drew Brown for the first time here at home, back in the starting lineup last couple of weeks, and 3 game-winning drives. And looking forward to seeing what he can do in front of this home crowd, where he has really excited them throughout this season.
Yeah, obviously finding that combination of both stability and depth, quite frankly, at the quarterback position has been a big part of Ottawa's success this season.
390 passing yards in Week 12 against BC, did Brown. His first throw will be right here on first down underneath. And it is complete. It goes to the hands of the new addition, Kalen Leyburn, as he's part of this starting offense.
Yeah, and the guys blocking for Brown and Leyburn include center Eric Starsala, has taken over that position. Cyril Auguin-Saint-Don on the injured list. And yeah, as mentioned, big news out of Ottawa this week, making a change at the running back spot. Rock Armstead, 4th in the league in rushing, but he's moved out. Kalen Leyburn takes over.
2nd down and 5 after the completion of Leyburn. Over the top, it is complete. Justin Hardy running free through the secondary. Now 63 catches on the year, came in 5th in the CFL.
Justin Hardy has been so consistent over these last couple of years for the Red Blacks in that receiving core, and anticipate, obviously, with the injuries that they've had to that group, for him to take on a bigger role. At top, you see Leyburn doing a nice job in blitz pickup.
4 receivers to the left of Brown. They hand it off inside after a gain of 26 to Justin Hardy. This one goes for just a couple of yards on the play, as the Argonauts front stacking it up. And here's the starters for the double blue defense.
Yeah, defensive line continues to be led by Jake Serezna, obviously one of the top defensive tackles in the league over the years, guy who started his career here in Ottawa. Isaac D'Arcangelo gets the start at middle linebacker this week. On the back end, Deshaun Amos, another guy who is a game-time decision, but he's going to go at halfback still.
Brown hits his back foot wide open, sliding down and sliding out of the hands of the intended receiver that time, as it was Eli Stove, who had a big game in Touchdown Pacific. 8 catches, 73 yards, but wet conditions couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, Stove getting an opportunity with Jalen Acklin, Braylon Addison, and Khalil Pimpleton all out of the lineup.
So Richie Leone comes out to kick it away. These two teams trading punts early on the front end of our triple header of CFL action on a Super Saturday, as Jerry Grant tracked down from behind. And a great special teams tackle there by the Ottawa REDBLACKS, one of the best coverage units in the Canadian Football League. As see David Unger and the rest of the offense, including Kadeem Carey, can he get on track here? One of the leading rushers in the Canadian. The Labor Day Classic, it hands him his 3rd loss, as he's 16-3 now after 19 starts. And the guy that you see just ahead of him ran red and white. Well, he was in black and gold last week and got the game-winning drive to hand Kelly that 3rd loss.
Yeah, I think Bo didn't really like Chad having a better winning percentage.
Did everything he could to make sure.
He sure did.
He could hold him off as Hamilton got the victory, but Toronto in action here. This one high in the air, intercepted and racing to the end zone. Touchdown REDBLACKS. It's Damon Webb.
Well, this is exactly the issue we talked about last week. That interception out of the gate led to points for Hamilton a week ago, and this one even more directly for Ottawa. And you'll see David Unger, the intended receiver on this one, knew right away that this one was trouble, as he's just trying to get a hand on it to break it up. Webb comes in leading the Canadian Football League in defensive stops. Opens this game with a rather massive pick 6.
Just his 2nd interception of the year, but Webb has contributed in so many different ways throughout this season. 11 games played, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, which leads the CFL. 4 pass knockdowns. Add a 2nd interception as Webb spins his
defensive play by him from his halfback position. Now watch on this play, the intended receiver is David Unger. It's a hitch screen. You got two guys trying to block. Webb recognized it, splits the block. And then with the ball overthrown, comes up with the pick. Did it all on that play.
I think that's not going to be a lot of fun for Tommy Neal to Reggie Sindani to watch back in film study as they get split. This one a low rolling kick that dribbles its way to Janarian Grant as he splits across the 50 out to the 55 and already into Ottawa territory. So fantastic field position here once again for the Toronto Argonauts. As Chad Kelly, 3 career pick sixes now after having that one. His last one also against the Red Blacks. It was Carriel Brooks that got him August 13th, 2023.
Not counting playoffs, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Marc-Antoine Dequoy had a slightly significant interception. As Kelly's adventures in his return to the lineup continue. Looks to throw once again. This time a high slant and intercepted. Back-to-back picks for the Red Blacks defense. And Brandon Dandridge has Ottawa on the other side of midfield. And Kelly is way off the mark here early on.
Well, the Ottawa Red Blacks so happy to have Brandon Dandridge back in their lineup. Watching out wide, Tommy Neal, the wide out Brandon Dandridge up at top of your screen. That's actually Unger coming in behind the intended target.
Yeah, ready, blood, man.
Ball thrown well behind him. Easy pickings for a ball hawk like Brandon Dandridge.
Well, Drew Brown will look to throw here. Quick little play action. Flips it out into the flats. And immediately turning north-south. Tackled by Robbie Smith all the way out there near the sideline. That's a solid gain on first down. Andre Miller, big body into the fold there. But again, we look back at the interception there as Drew Brown. High efficiency as we've seen throughout the year.
Yeah, and getting Andre Miller involved early. As mentioned, he and Stove came into the lineup last week with the injuries having piled up in that receiving core. 6'2", 230-pounder.
Laybourne into the game once again here as they'll pick up the first down. Second and a couple, gain of about 5 on the play as Jamal Morrow signed onto the roster, but expect to see Laybourne primarily get the touches today, standing next to Drew Brown.
And then Laybourne spent a little bit of time in Edmonton after being released in the National Football League last season. His rights traded in the offseason to the Toronto Argonauts, along with Jake Ceresna, ironically, in exchange for Curly Gittins Jr. Released by Toronto, finds himself here in Ottawa, an opportunity to play.
4 receivers to the left of Brown, gets it out quickly. It is complete. It's Eli Stove, who gets up to the 30-yard line, gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4 here for Drew Brown as he's making his first ever start against Toronto. 13 career starts, first against the Argos.
And Drew Brown looking like he's in a pretty good rhythm here in the early going. Another hitch look there from Ottawa as you see them getting it blocked up with Miller and Rhymes out front.
Four-man rush here from the Argonauts. Brown gets it out quickly. Benji Franklin knocks it away. Trying to get the football to Justin Hardy once again, but it can't be completed. So out comes the field goal unit led by Lewis Ward.
And there you see nice break to the football. Benji Franklin getting a hand in to make the play, much to the pleasure of his co-defensive coordinator, Kevin Ivan, on the sidelines.
37 yards away here for Lewis Ward. He's got 37 made field goals so far this season. First in the Canadian Football League. I think the Red Blacks would like a little bit more. 6 points in the score zone, but when they need it, Ward has been money for them throughout the year, and he knocks this one through as well. 38 made field goals on the season for the Ottawa GG's alum, undrafted in 2017, but continues to pay dividends and put points on the board here in Ottawa. Every opportunity that he gets. An early advantage here early on. Everything coming out a little bit high with a wet football in Ottawa.
Yeah, there you see the hitch, short pass, looking for Unger, sails on him. Damon Webb makes him pay, and again, you know what I mean, Marshall, you can speak to that as a former college quarterback. It's handling that wet ball early in the game.
It's so hard to get comfortable with it, and once you have a couple of misses like that, it's in your head. And now you got to crawl over the top, not just on the interceptions. As Ralph Hawley in the middle of that return unit, the big man, defensive tackle, picks up this kick return. But yeah, as Kelly comes out, to be able to get control of the football and put it exactly where you need it, that look from Ryan Dinwiddie almost screamed, maybe we go with the high efficiency with Cam Dukes maybe, and Damon Webb. Some huge plays, of course, with the pick 6 and 19 defensive stops you talked about, leading the CFL in terms of team percentage of defensive stops.
Yeah, and you see down at the bottom what we mean when we talk specifically about stops. Basically any play that results in no gain or a loss for the offensive team, be it knockdown, interception, sack, tackle for loss, etc.
Right down the pipe, it is Kadeem Carey, high stepping, crosses the 40-yard line, and Carey is off and running. You might think the Argos want to lean on their CFL best rushing attack, 117.5 yards per game.
Well, I love this call at this time, given the way that things had started off. Nice block there by the rookie Kevin Mittal, the slot coming into the formation, using his physicality. But yeah, Carey has been so good in this ground game that why not, if Chad Kelly is struggling a little bit, right, to find his groove, Kadeem Carey is a pretty good security blanket to have.
724 rush yards coming in, third in the Canadian Football League, and high stepping through eventually, brought down by Elijah McGee, the corner, who had to fall off and make the play. But they go hurry up and they go to the ground attack, completely different than what we had seen early on, where they were going slow and throwing the football a whole bunch in this first quarter. Now Kelly will look to throw and drops the football, picks it up, tries to make something with his feet, and he's wrapped up on second down. Just an awkward, clunky play there from the Argonauts. Not sure if Kadeem Carey bumped Kelly and the ball popped out of his hands, Dwayne, but it will result in the kicking unit coming out with Liram Hajrullahu.
Yeah, good reaction by Chad Kelly when things went a little sideways here, and you see just mishandling the ball as he brought it up looking to throw. He's just going to take what he can get, which won't be enough.
Frankie Griffin, the man that made the play. So after Lewis Ward knocked it through from 37, Liram Hajrullahu, third the Canadian Football League, 90.9% success rate on field goals this year, will look to add his own 37-yard field goal. As Hajrullahu splits the uprights, and the Argonauts, against all adversity with their offense, struggling to find any rhythm, they are on the board as one of the best in the Canadian Football League over the last decade, continues to have success kicking this season. 10-3 Red Blacks lead. Hannah has more.
Yeah, Marshall, and it's not very often that you see a team part ways with the fourth leading rusher in the league, but that's exactly what the Ottawa Red Blacks did earlier this week when they released Raquel Armstead, their running back. Now, Bob Dice didn't want to share all the details, but he said it was in the best interest of the team. He said Armstead and the Red Blacks tried to work things out, but in the end, it didn't. So now, as a result, there is going to be big competition for the #1 running back. Now, right now, today, Kalen Laybourne is starting, but he's been on the Red Blacks roster for about a month. He was at the 49ers training camp about a year ago, but this is his very first CFL game. Now on Tuesday, Ottawa signed Jamal Morrow, who spent the last 3 seasons with Saskatchewan, rushing for over 1,600 yards. Now Dice says Morrow has the CFL experience, while Laybourne is more familiar with the Red Blacks, and what's exciting, both will have an opportunity to take over this gap in offense that's opened up.
Thank you, Claire, as this one should have been intercepted by the Argonauts, as flying back from his halfback spot was Mark Milton, incomplete onto the turf. So a little miscommunication there as well. But yeah, Laybourne into the mix here and trying to use him as much as they can, as Dominique Rhymes just came out a little bit different angle maybe than Drew Brown was thinking.
Yeah, it looked like they had their signals crossed there as Rhymes broke it off towards the sideline. Brown was leading him a little more vertically, as you suggested.
Nothing feels worse than Benji Franklin, your fellow DB, going, I would have caught that, as he stared down Mark Milton at the end of that play. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Brown looks to his right, completes this one, shy of the first down marker. as it will be Nick Mardner, who was a game-time decision, but the rookie second overall pick from the 2024 draft, all 6'6" of him makes a catch.
Yeah, Mardner just sitting down essentially as the check down on this one underneath coverage as the Argos are sitting back, knowing second and long situation. They'll give that up every time. Come forward and make a play.
Tavares Daniels out. Robert Priester into the lineup, and he's the one who gets credit for the tackle there. So Richie Leone sends a wobbling spiral down to Janarian Grant at his own 16-yard line. Coverage unit right there once again. Huge pop down the field. Silas Stewart makes the play.
Well, they've got those backup linebackers, guys like Gary Johnson, Silas Stewart, great special teams body types, a little bit of experience in the league that really understand the kicking game. Those are the guys you're seeing making these impact plays and coverage for Ottawa in the early going.
They have built their roster with depth and players that understand special teams, and it shows on plays like that as Kelly gets this one out. Monte Coxie, safety blanket at times, we were told. Sees from Darius Pickett told us that this week. So Coxie's the guy that they go to so consistently. And speaking of Pickett, here he is with the rest of the defensive starters.
Yeah, Kenny Onyeka again getting the start at defensive end with Bryce Carter out of the lineup. Davion Taylor in for the injured Javon Santos-Knox at middle linebacker, doing a solid job in there. Keep an eye on DeAndre Lamont from his halfback spot, right up there with a Darius Pickett for the team lead in defensive plays so far this season.
Chad Kelly on second and short, incomplete. Has had an open receiver that time in Kadeem Carey in the flats, couldn't connect. And a 2-and-out here for the Toronto Argonauts as Kelly continues to try and find the handle on that CFL ball today.
I'll tell you, Marsh, one of the things going through my mind in watching the first few series for the Argos in this ball game is going back to last season, right? Watching Chad Kelly all last year, one of the things that stood out was he seemed to have this unshakable confidence. Didn't matter if something went wrong, bounced back, came right back, gunslinging. And then there was the Montreal game in the East Final. Had that pick six early that shook him, and he never really recovered from it. And you wonder if we're seeing a little bit of the same thing here.
As Brandon Dandridge returns this one, and Kelly goes to work on the sideline. Cam Dukes throwing alongside him as well.
You know, and again, like Chad Kelly has played on plenty of big stages. Like, you know, his confidence is not made up. He's been very, very effective, not intimidated by anything. But again, you just, for a guy just in his third game of the year, everybody else is in mid-season form. If that's in his head a little bit too.
2 for 6, 16 yards, and 2 interceptions right now for Chad Kelly. Drew Brown is on point on the other side as he slings that one out on a little bubble screen. And Falar and Arimalai having a conversation with the offensive lineman saying, please don't hold me like that. I'm trying to get around the corner like Flo does so often, but it is complete and good for a gain of 5.
The receipt. Then Andre Miller using that size as a blocker, helping Dominic Grimes get upfield.
Brown with a hard count here. Takes the snap, looks right, timing, throw, and it is caught. Wow, that's a tough one for Justin Hardy. A lot of the time he's flying between zones and settling down, making catches, but that was every little bit of effort needed against a collision with Tavares McFadden and Deshaun Amos right there as well.
And watch the tail end of this route, how Hardy kind of works back towards the football. See him bend it back towards the line of scrimmage, helping out his quarterback a little bit, recognizing that wide side throw, the time it takes for the ball to get there, the DBs are closing.
It's Priester on the coverage, tracking him down, so Robert Priester active early on as Brown with full protection, loads it up, wants to take a shot down the right rail, up for grabs! Incomplete. Looking for Dominique Grimes and Benji Franklin locking him down for the second time today.
Yeah, Benji Franklin doing a nice job in coverage as for Drew Brown, just looking to give one of the best receivers in the Canadian Football League an opportunity to make a play. Closest to the top of your screen, that matchup right down the sideline. Grimes isn't in behind him. Franklin's got that tremendous speed. But Rhymes with a size advantage down there, and that's what Drew Brown is banking on with that throw. Hoping Rhymes can box him out, come down with the rebound.
5 or 6 inch advantage for Dominique Grimes in that matchup, but can't haul it down as Bob Dice is on the field right before the snap comes up on 2nd and 10. Some confusion from the Red Blacks offensively.
Timeout, Ottawa.
And so the Red Blacks will call a timeout.
Well, feeling like at midfield they're in a pretty good place. Bob Dice certainly doesn't want to squander that with a wasted play or a penalty.
I love the call from Tommy Condell, the offensive coordinator. As soon as you cross midfield, you got a little bit of momentum. Chad Kelly struggling here at the end of the first quarter. A little bit of a drifting breeze at their back, so he decides to take a shot. And now it's the always difficult. Well, we tried to cash in on the 1st and 10 home run. 2nd and 10. Let's try to maximize this possession. They call timeout, regroup. 4 receivers to the left of Brown. It's the 5-man rush. Drew Brown steps up, lone receiver on the backside. And it is Dominique Grimes winning that one-on-one battle, this time with Benji Franklin on a big dig route and a huge first down for the Red Blacks offense.
Yeah, the dagger deep in, only receiver out to that right side is Rhymes. Similar kind of thing. I mean, this is going to be a contested catch, but Drew Brown has that faith in Dominique Grimes in that situation. You see him shield the ball with his body, get the hands out in front so that he's not going to, his catch isn't going to be affected by the contact. Come down with that one to move the sticks.
Quincy Mauger, former Lion, just like Dominique Grimes, said he was looking forward to playing against Mr. Head Topper here this week. Dominique Grimes' nickname is Drew Brown. Play action. Now on his back foot, up in the air, incomplete. A flag does come down. And will they say that Royce Messier was there a little bit early?
Pass interference, Toronto number 9. Automatic first down.
Tim Croker, our referee here this afternoon, makes the call. Messier doesn't like it. Let's get a look.
And my initial thought on this one was that Messier had a path to the ball and is trying to get to it. But we'll see right here. Yeah, look, it's like his eyes are on the ball, but the body contact, I think, comes first.
He was making the argument that he was playing the football,
yeah.
And he was, but he still got there early and hit the body, right? So Mark Milton has a conversation on the sideline with Argonauts head coach Ryan Dinwiddie as Drew Brown gets a fresh set of downs once again. 1st and 10, flips it out and trying to get Justin Hardy out in space. And Hardy wishes he would have gotten free of Robbie Smith on that one. Great open field tackle by the former Golden Hawk defensive end.
Yeah, Hardy narrowly avoiding that first hit by Benji Franklin. Franklin, in fact, gets a piece of him, forces him off stride. Robbie Smith there to clean up.
The number of times Robbie Smith is at the sideline making tackles is always mind-boggling for me. The way he turns and runs and covers so much ground. As Brown on 2nd and 9, the closing stages of this first quarter, will load it up to the end zone. Double move into the back of the end zone. Dominique Grimes, the intended receiver, but 3 different double blue defenders right there. And the field goal unit comes out incomplete, 3rd and 9.
There you see Rhymes lined up tight to the formation. A little bit of a seam, but Milton does a nice job getting over top of that.
20 yards away from Lewis Ward, who's already knocked one through earlier on. Last week, raising his scoring total, as we said, to 127 points this season coming in. The 2nd leading scorer in Ottawa history. He's now got 849 points, just behind Jerry Oregon, who set the Ottawa standard from 1971 to 83 with over 1,400. As the CFL on CTV starts today, rolling on. It's the Banjo Bowl, the Riders and the Bombers coming up after this one, and of course Calgary and Edmonton. But the CTV schedule out and ready for everyone to enjoy coast to coast. Looking forward forward to seeing some of those playoff games available as well. The Eastern semifinal, and of course, the big show, the Grey Cup, on CTV here in 2024 as Chad Kelly fades this one over the top, up for grabs, Mackay Polk, and he somehow held on to it. On the final play of the first quarter, it's 41 yards. Polk shaken up a little bit on the play, but Chad Kelly dropped it in over the top here in the wet. And after a first quarter with a pair of interceptions, he only had 16 yards before that completion. And he finds the range. Mackay Polk makes the play. Great crowd in the rain here in the nation's capital, and great defense from the Red Blacks early on. Damon Webb, the lone major on defense to get things going. For Red Blacks as they get in, Laybourne to the lineup. Haven't seen Jamal Morrow in the backfield yet, but really the story has been the Toronto Argonauts offensively and the way that Chad Kelly has been trying to feel out that first quarter. It really does feel like they should be leaning on Kadeem Carey right now until the final play of that first quarter where Chad finally drops one into Mackay Polk for a big game.
Yeah, and maybe not a perfect throw, but for Chad Kelly, I love this throw in terms of the confidence, almost the irreverence of, yeah, whatever, a couple picks, fumble the ball in the first half, I can still make this play. This is who Chad Kelly was last year, a little bit of swagger to make that throw, and Mackay Polk certainly helps him out with a fantastic leap and catch.
Unbelievable grab by Polk there as we begin the second quarter. Kelly and the Argonauts offense will play from the Ottawa 29, and Polk gets another touch here. Open field tackle made that time. Looks like DeAndre Lamont was the one who wrapped him up and brought him down, but Kelly getting into a little bit more of a rhythm. As in these wet weather games, feels like typically with quarterbacks you end up struggle, and then you get a drive or two where the ball couldn't come out of your hand better. This feels like that might be that for Chad Kelly right now. Dinwiddie calling the shots on the Argos sideline. See what he does here on 1st and 10. Kelly looks to his right. Now looks to try and take off and run. Gets sandwiched. Cleon Lang was right there turning him around. And it was Aiden John finishing it off as well. But the veteran Lang still doing it, pushing the pocket right down the middle.
Yeah, career game number 150 in the CFL for Cleon Lang. You see him directing traffic a little bit. Going from a stand-up here. Just nice spin move to get off the block, fall back into the middle. Come up with the play. The long-time Toronto Argonaut doing it against his former team.
Second sack of the season for the big man. Cleon Lang, pressure on this time. Kelly has to get it out. Intercepted! Picked off again. It's Damon Webb, and he's on the run. Kelly backpedaling. He gets blocked. They'll turn around, trying to find a body. He can even carry, catch Damon Webb. No! Touchdown, Red Blacks.
Now, you remember on the second series of the game, and I said Damon Webb had a big pick six? This was a big pick six. Taking points off the board for the Toronto Argonauts as they finally had some momentum going offensively. Damon Webb, again, the league leader in defensive stops. Takes that deflected ball from Mackay Polk. Look at his guys getting out front to make blocks and escort him to the house.
How about a Darius Pickett wanted to turn around and get a peel back block and went, wait, no.
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore. So turned his eyes upfield, almost got in the way of Damon Webb. But Chad Kelly, 3 interceptions in the first 17 minutes of this football game. And that one in behind intended receiver, but what a play, bouncing off the knee of Damon Webb and able to get it back up into his hands. Both of his interceptions, both of his pick sixes, because he's got 2 of them today, have come from juggling acts. As number 12 rifles it high and away, Mackay Polk can't bring it down. Leave the rest to Damon Webb all the way to the end zone for 95. Come back to the nation's capital. Yeah, give it to him, Spider-Man. Damon spins his web, and Chad Kelly gets caught in it for the second time today.
Yeah, ball gets up high. Polk can't come down with this one. Off his hand. Webb with a little juggle of his own, but manages to squeeze it. A couple of great blocks from the rest of that defensive unit to get Webb all the way to the house. Baron Miles has got his guys going.
Damon Webb, the only Ottawa player to ever have 2 pick sixes in the same game. What a moment for him. As there's a flag down for a block in the back here. Janarian Grant returns it out near the 35-yard line, but expect that one to go backwards. And so back onto the field goes Damon Webb. And the hardest part about pick sixes, obviously, psychologically, for any quarterback.
Illegal block, Toronto number 26.
You got to go right back on the field.
First down, Toronto.
And the problem is for Chad Kelly, when you've already thrown 2 pick sixes in the first 17, 18 minutes of this football game, it's really difficult to start building forward when you're just going back on the field, Dwayne.
Yeah. Yeah, but you think about some of the greats over time, and I mean, one of the ones that always has stood out to me was Danny McManus, was his ability to put any mistake out of his mind, right? Like, Danny was such a great even keel guy. Never too high, never low when something went wrong, and that's kind of what Chad Kelly needs to channel right now.
Yeah, he's got to get the gunslinger going and try and forget about some of the errors here early on in this football game. 12:38 remaining in the second quarter, still lots of time left. But 20-3 is the advantage for Ottawa off of 2 pick sixes from Damon Webb.
An easy high percentage. Little dump off here for Kelly to Polk. Maybe letting him ease his way back into things here.
Looks like the big catch at the end of the first quarter might have earned some favor from Chad Kelly. Lots of attention from Mackay Polk as Kelly looks down the middle of the field. This one completed. It is David Unger making the catch. Brandon Dandridge right there, and they will move the sticks on a little comeback route. A curl to Unger, good enough.
You see Unger come from behind on this one, curl around and work back to the football, coming back into that hole between defenders. Got a favorable spot. I wasn't sure how that one was going to go. It's between his momentum coming back to the ball and being driven by the defender as he caught it. Wondered if it might cost him the first down, but it did not.
Unger to the sideline. Janarian Grant into the ball game here. As they look to throw a quick bubble screen to Janarian Grant. You heard the sideline from the REDBLACKS screaming that Janarian was in the game. Didn't decide to use him as a decoy. So Kelly rips it outside and goes for a loss.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. When you have package-type players like Janarian Grant, is finding that balance between plays where they get the ball in that package and plays where they don't, quite frankly, because the defenses obviously are very focused on a player like that when he comes into the game.
Baron Miles and his staff all over at a loss of 7, so 2nd and 17. Now Kelly with a pass out to Richie Sindani. And Darius Pickett right there, the former Argonaut. Asked Darius this week about some of the smack talk he's likely to get into after plays like this. He said, well, everybody likes to talk, but when those pads start click-clacking, all of a sudden, people stop talking.
Darius, certainly a guy who plays the game with a bit of an edge, but he says he doesn't say much out there. Just plays like that where, yeah, he'll let his play do the speaking for him.
Flies in to help out as the Ottawa defense active early on. Not just Webb, Lamont, and this man, Brandon Dandridge, will return the punt from the 30 as Devontae Denman with injury. And so Dandridge takes over the return responsibilities and doing a solid job up near the 48-yard line of the REDBLACKS. Pickett there watching on as Elijah McGee. There was a big shoulder in the back of Richie Sindani. CFL fan knows his work with the Green Riders here last season. Nearly 1,000 yards, good out of the backfield as well, into the end zone a handful of times. They were splitting carries with Frankie Hickson and others as well last year, but still very, very productive. And now he's here in Ottawa.
Yeah, certainly a good signing for Ottawa as they're looking to make that change. You know, I thought to myself we might see Morrow in the return game. Was surprised to see Brandon Dandridge back there. Part of that may be because Morrow is now getting some snaps on offense for the REDBLACKS.
Claiborne will stand on the sidelines this time as they get it to Morrow in his first touch here, and now the ball pops out, and it's mercifully recovered. Morrow adjusting to the wet rock in the nation's capital. Miller all over at that time, and so it goes for a gain of 6 or 7.
Yeah, you see a little bit of the burst of Morrow. Sneak into the outside there. Nice shoestring tackle by Jonathan Jones to trip him up.
Jones working at various points this year. Middle linebacker with Whit McManus out, playing over at the weak side primarily here today in Ottawa. Drew Brown looks to throw on second and short, rips it out, gets it into the hands of Morrow, puts a shoulder down, and a first down out of the backfield. Saw so much of that in Saskatchewan as Brown peels himself up off the TD Place turf.
Jamal Morrow, who in the whole running back shuffle of the offseason had signed with the Calgary Stampeders, but failed his physical there. You see Drew Brown taken down hard there by Rimolade.
One of those little things by Brown, though, to set the pocket and then get more depth and just try to stay away from Rimolade to get it out of his hands. He does. He gets a first down. Morrow steps up in pass protection. They get it down the chute. It's Miller headed to the end zone. The REDBLACKS score once again. 50 yards from Drew Brown to Andre Miller. And the advantage expands for the REDBLACKS.
Big throw from Drew Brown. Great catch and run by Miller. Watch the block here from Jamal Morrow standing in there. Taking on the blitz, giving his quarterback time to make that throw. Andre Miller.
Let's go, brother. Let's go. First touch to the crib. What a ball. The main lobster.
Lewis Ward kicks it through. It's time to cut a wood cookie here in Ottawa. 166 230 of Andre Miller out of Maine. No lobster needed on his trip to the end zone here is the big block from Jamal Morrow against Quincy Mojay. And then Miller does the rest, Wayne.
Yeah, Miller, we've talked about his size. He shows off some speed, but Jamal Morrow standing in. Mojay's got a big run at him. You knew it was going to be a collision in the backfield, but Morrow held his ground. An important block, maintaining the integrity of the pocket for Drew Brown on that one.
The Argonauts get possession back down 27-3, not yet halfway through the second quarter. The return game, battles continue, and flags come out at the end of this play. A couple of bodies rolling their way down around the 35. Referee Tim Croker will sort it out.
After the play, there's 2 misconduct fouls against 34 Toronto and 42 Ottawa. They offset, first down.
A couple of Canadian linebackers getting into it. James Peter out of Ottawa and Kerfala Exame at the end of the play. The Argonauts special teams unit least penalized in the Canadian Football League, just 13 penalties coming in.
Dinwiddie trying to find some answers over on that Argonaut sideline.
2 pumps holding on to it. Keller can't get rid of the football and can't get back to the original line of scrimmage either. That'll go down as a sack. As it looks like, 96. Mike Wakefield gets another, as he's now tied his career high from last season of 6 sacks and has 27 in his career.
Mike Wakefield, much of his career, I think, has been one of the underrated interior defensive linemen in this league. But now, as you see the numbers.
The snap dribbles back to Kelly, who just chucks it up in the air, downfield, incomplete. If he got a clean snap, he might have had a shot at DeMonte Coxey, but the snap came out low. Kelly picked it up, felt the pressure, knew where he wanted to go pre-snap and threw it up, hoping he could find Coxie. Incomplete.
Yeah, you alluded to it earlier, Marsh, the idea that Coxie may be the security blanket of sorts for Chad Kelly. Certainly a guy in whom he has confidence to go and make a play, and in that instance, throwing it up, hoping Coxie might be able to go get it. That one just long.
John Haggerty will punt this one away, nearly blocked that time by James Peter coming through the middle. And now the return for Brandon Dandridge. There is a flag down as well, as the Ottawa offense comes back out and hoping to get one of their better players back soon. Claire Hanna has more on the return potentially of Jalen Ackland.
Yeah, Marshall, and it was exactly 2 weeks ago that all of TD Place held their breath as Jalen Ackland sat motionless on the field for 10 minutes. He was eventually taken to the hospital via ambulance, but there was hundreds of messages of support coming in from the CFL. Head coach Bob Dice told me that there was even members of Atletico Ottawa who stopped him in the hallways here and just asked for an update on how Ackland was doing. But the good news is earlier this week, the Red Blacks receiver was back on the practice field and spirits were immediately up. Drew Brown said having him around is so good for the team. He can give advice to the younger guys, but Dice says they're very cautious when it comes to concussions, and they anticipate he could be ready for day one practice next week if he continues to progress, guys.
Awesome, Claire, and just great to see Jalen at field level, walking around, talking to people, being in the building, as Drew Brown would love to get him back, and Brown on this play gets it out of his hands, breaking 2 tackles, now 3, and another great yards after catch effort from Kalen Laybourne.
Well, we've seen it all from the Ottawa running backs in this ball game. Everything you got to do in the CFL. Running the ball hard, catching the ball, some terrific blocks. Right there, Laybourne making some people miss.
Laybourne doing a good job in the backfield, and Brown using his own legs this time. Plunges forward, 1st and 10, already in Toronto territory here. With 6:16 remaining in the second quarter, 27-3 on the front end of a CFL triple header. Next one coming up for you, the Banjo Bowl on CTV. As the former Blue Bombers quarterback, Drew Brown, no doubt will be watching that one once he's done his post-game responsibilities in the Red Blacks locker room. Now a member in Ottawa. As another completion underneath. Justin Hardy makes the grab that time. And Isaac Darkangelo getting the start at middle linebacker wraps him up.
Yeah, Darkangelo getting that opportunity this week. Add another bigger body to that linebacking core. Winton McManus still out of the lineup.
A hurry up and wait routine here from the Ottawa Red Blacks. Fraser Sopik and Royce Metier trying to communicate the call to the Argonauts defense, and outside sliding down on the wet turf. Incomplete. Dominique Grimes and Benji Franklin, which arguably has been the battle of the day, one-on-one here between Toronto and Ottawa.
Yeah, they've each had their moments in this one. That one, Rhymes coming in from the outside.
Correct decision.
You see as he's trying to settle to catch that one, just body stop, feet kept going.
Drew Brown, unlike Chad Kelly earlier today, at least the error doesn't turn into a major one that goes the opposite direction for 6, as this football for Janarian Grant rolls all the way into the end zone. Richie Leone goes for a jog, but it'll be picked up there by Grant, and tag a couple more on for the Red Blacks as they near a 30-point first half. Damon Webb with those 2 pick sixes here against Chad Kelly, and incredible to see some of the efforts that he is knotted up with. Remember that Emmanuel Davis game back in 2015 for the Tiger Cats. Byron Parker, never afraid to go get himself an interception, of course. Vernon Mitchell up there at the top, which I was told once upon a time Vernon Mitchell might have taken a run at my man Dwayne Ford.
I'll just say the three pick sixes were the highlight for Vernon Mitchell.
Didn't end well for Vernon.
No, he was a good player. Good DB.
Richie Sindani checked down over the middle. Flags are down. It's a first down for now, barring the penalty. And it'll go against the Argonauts offense.
Legal block hands to the face, Toronto number 64. It's 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So Dylan Giffen stepping in at that left guard position as the starter today with Ryan Hunter out of the lineup gets flagged.
And here you'll see Giffen right away working against Mike Wakefield. Wakefield rips inside Giffen. Got the hands up on him.
Takes away a 12-yard gain, sets them back 10 yards. 1st and 20 from Toronto's 30. They'll go to the ground game. Reluctant to use it, it feels like at times today, but Kadeem Carey continuing to churn out some solid yardage as he loses his bucket on that one after a gain of 8.
And you get into that challenging situation. They haven't used the run game, and then as time goes on, if that deficit doesn't get smaller, time becomes your enemy in terms of any desire to try and get Kadeem Carey more involved.
Pressure look here for the REDBLACKS. Kelly gets it out hot. Zindani makes the grab, and they force him to get it out of his hand, rally to the football, and tackle short of the sticks.
Yeah, I mean, it all fits together. You've got that blitz going, knowing they need so many yards for a first down. Well, we're going to get to them before any route can get long enough. Going to get to the quarterback before any of his receivers can reach that first down marker. And sure tackling there. On that occasion, safety Alonzo Adai leading the way. Ensures that the Argos have to punt the football again.
Low snap comes back from Adam Guillemette, the long snapper of the Argonauts, but hauled in by Haggerty, and great downfield coverage. Jonathan Jones, playing a weak side linebacker, makes the play. As Crave presents the next chapter in the Batman saga, starring Academy Award nominee Colin Farrell, The Penguin, an HBO original limited series, streams September 19th only on Crave.
Didn't Colin Farrell used to play like heartthrob type roles?
I mean, he's versatile.
Yeah.
He's like you know?
Well,
Kalen Laybourne in the backfield. Get the look here, but flip it out to Justin Hardy, blocking down the field immediately, and great speed around the corner that time from Justin Hardy. It's a gain of 10. Where will they spot it? Is it going to move the chains? And it will. First down REDBLACKS as we hit the 3-minute warning. For the Ottawa REDBLACKS coming home from long travel all the way out to play at Royal Athletic Park in Victoria. 6 days rest, 2 more than Toronto, paying off 28-3 at the 3-minute warning.
On with Chad Kelly, and whoop whoop, All Apolis is here, of course, to talk about the Banjo Bowl. It's all coming up.
Defense for the Ottawa REDBLACKS been strong right from the very beginning, as now they get it into Justin Hardy's hands, and he gets a first down, but there is a flag down flying in from the back judge here.
Holding, Ottawa number 15. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
On the outside, they get Dominique Grimes, unfortunately, as they went straight to Justin Hardy. I don't blame him for trying to find 1,000 different ways to get it in Hardy's hands as well.
yeah, I like the play call here. Grimes right at the bottom of your screen, responsible for blocking the defensive end. Got the hands on the outside, but receiver run's always a big part of Tommy Condell's offense. He loses a pretty important guy in Braylon Addison.
And a big shot down the seam here as Addison out of the lineup, but Rhymes trying to make the yardage back that he just lost from that last penalty, and does so with one of the more difficult catches we've seen of the day for 26 yards.
Yeah, always admire the courage of receivers knowing in that part of the field you're going to get smashed as soon as you catch the ball, but able to keep his focus on the rock. as Royce Metier immediately lowers the boom. Rhymes holds on for a big first down grab.
One of the most rewarding kind of throws you can have as a quarterback right there for Drew Brown. He loved it as they backside screen it this time. Gets in the fullback, and it's Anthony Gosselin rumbling his way for a first down. So Tommy Condell, we've seen a little Justin Hardy direct snap. We've seen Rhymes down the seam, and now they get the fullback involved.
Yeah, mixing things up a little bit. Gosselin on the far left side of your screen lines up as a tight end. Pretends to lose his block and then just slips out there for the screen.
8th different receiver for the Ottawa Redblacks here today. A Colaros-esque performance from his former protege, Drew Brown. Leaning on the defense, but making some great throws like he just did to Rhymes. What can he do here on 1st and 10? Gets it out to Rhymes once again. Trying to get away from tacklers, but brought down. As Fraser Sopik finished it off with Isaac Darkangelo there. And Anthony Gosselin from the veterans of the Canadian Football League, and everybody loves it when the fullback gets a touch, Dwayne.
They really do, Marshall. It's not just me.
Second rounder, 18th overall back in 2017 out of Sherbrooke. All 7 years of his career here in Ottawa. And no doubt a locker room favorite. Brown against the 5-man rush. Gets it out as he gets hit. And it is up for grabs for a moment. But incomplete. As Brown got hit from both sides. Those defensive ends from the Argonauts lead the CFL in pass rush win rate coming around the corner.
Yeah, and Jake Cerezza is lined up on the outside on this one, top of your screen.
Benji Franklin might have had a shot at it if he stayed up on his feet, but falls to the turf. So a 51-yard attempt here from Lewis Ward. Richie Leone is the holder. Peter Jay is the snapper. They get it back and down and up and wow, in the rain with the wind swirling at TD Place in Ottawa. Lewis Ward, you remember the consecutive field goals made streak and how many points he's put up over the last couple of seasons here for Ottawa, but he's been getting better and better at hammering the deep ball. Not yet Sergio Castillo with a couple of 60-yarders in a game, but Lewis is working his way there and doing a heck of a job.
And then when you look at the success rate of field goal kickers in this era of the Canadian Football League, I mean, the fact is you need a guy who's money in order to compete. Lewis Ward has been that for the Redblacks throughout his career.
Kelly controls Tommy Neal, the intended receiver, brings it in. Brandon Dandridge gets credit for the tackle there. As Frankie Griffin and Tommy Neal have a conversation about University of Texas San Marcos and McMaster, similarities and differences.
Yes, compare and contrast.
It's the halftime show coming up with analysis of this one in a little over a minute's time. But Chad Kelly would like to put some points on the board before we get there. Neal, another completion. And once again, close to a first down. They'll spot it about the 51-yard line. Yard and a half, 2 yards away. Toronto goes quickly back to the line of scrimmage here. Kelly gets them sorted out live at the line. Haven't heard much from Makai Polk over the last couple of series. They'll go back to him. Oh, actually, it's David Unger on the outside. Thought they were going slant to Polk, but just working that boundary as quick as they can right now, and they move the sticks once again.
Yeah, and I think taking advantage of the fact that Ottawa sitting back a little bit, not wanting to give up a big one here late in the half. Toronto content, recognizing they feel there's enough time on the clock to take a bunch of short ones.
Big pressure moment here, flying in from that boundary. Bennett Williams, first year out of Oregon, and brings down Chad Kelly for the sack.
Yeah, Bennett Williams became a little bit of an odd man out in the secondary. You see him coming off that right edge.
Pressure on once again. Down goes Kelly. Davian Taylor in at middle linebacker for Javon Santos Knox. And back-to-back sacks will end the Argonauts' push for points.
up his middle linebacker spot. Unblocked man straight through to the quarterback. And they turned up the heat there a little bit. I think Ottawa got tired of giving up all those short passes underneath. Decided to take away some of Chad Kelly's time.
Where Miles said, that's enough of that. Big kick here from Haggerty. Brandon Dandridge instructed right before the kick by Bob Dice. Don't let it go into the end zone. No singles. Well, now he's just going to run horizontal, try to stay out of that end zone, and he barely does. 27 seconds left and a 57-yard punt from Haggerty, who's been ripping the laces off the football here this season.
And here you wish a little bit from an Ottawa perspective, 31-3. You got a bit of a cushion, obviously, but you're trying not to give up that point. You either needed to get a couple of yards on that return or get a little more time off the clock. Right now, you're nervous that you're in safety territory.
Drew Brown already over 200 yards on the day in this first half, and now has to operate for the first time deep backed up against his own goal line with 27 seconds remaining and a 31-3 advantage. A little bit of game management perhaps here for the Red Blacks. See if they can pound the rock, get some breathing room. Bring it out to about the 5-yard line this time. Chad Kelly, difficult first half. And watches on, wondering what he has to do to try and get into the end zone here for the Argonauts. Just a single field goal produced so far in this ballgame.
Yeah, turnovers. The turnovers on their own a huge story, but the fact that 2 of them have been pick sixes cashed in by Damon Webb speaks volumes about the 28-point Ottawa lead.
Burn the play clock as far down as they possibly can. And Leyburn gets the carry. Wrapped up, but it doesn't matter. That's the end of the first half. So Ottawa escapes after being backed up in their own end and gets saluted by the Red Blacks home crowd that has not seen them lose on this field this season. As many wins here at TD Place as they've had over the last several years. 5 victories, 5-0-1. And Damon Webb is a big part of the reason why they might be able to get to 6 wins here at TD Place this season. Couple of majors off of interceptions. And Chad Kelly a little off the mark with a wet football, and Webb has certainly taken advantage. Let's go down to Claire Hannon, who's standing alongside. Means that Ottawa, after they deferred at the coin toss, will receive to open things up here in the second half of our opener. 3 CFL games on a Super Saturday is now. It is a huge return across the 40 to the 42-yard line. And Drew Brown, a look at his first half of action. And being really, really aggressive down the field a couple of times, and it was paying off in those intermediate zones, right?
Yeah, open things up a little bit underneath for Drew Brown, but a couple of big strikes along the way. Justin Hardy very active in that offense, certainly no surprise. One of the Canadian Football League's leading receivers. Andre Miller chipping in with his first trip to the CFL end zone.
Brown begins the second half with a bubble screen here. They get it into the hands of Leyburn as he steps in for Raquel Armstead. Claire telling us about him being released earlier on this week. Jamal Morrow got in as well. Big pass protection on the Andre Miller touchdown, but Leyburn has been the guy here throughout the first half.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Bob Dice about him a little bit this week and what we could expect to see from Kalen Leyburn. He described him as twitchy, a guy who's got some great quickness and burst to his game. And as we saw in the first half, was doing a pretty good job with his pass protections. Coach suggested in practice during the week.
4-minute rush here from the Argonauts as Brown has time, goes underneath. Dominique Grimes makes the grab right near the first down marker. And on 2nd and 7, did they get enough? They did. Move the chains here once again, as that'll be the 9th first down gain through the air for the Red Blacks offense.
Yeah, Dominique Grimes lined up out wide, continuing See a lot of Benji Franklin getting to know each other out there in that boundary side corner.
Possible playoff preview of those two battling against each other. The question is, where will the game be?
Well, Rhymes seeing a little more time on that side with the injuries.
Leyburn brought down, but yeah, Rhymes getting a little bit of a look more and more into that boundary side, which usually means a couple more targets per game.
Yeah, a little bit, playing a little bit closer to the quarterback. Different routes, different matchups, obviously, as you've seen. But again, with Jalen Ackland in particular down, Rhymes is the guy who steps into that role.
You got to remember as well, if you've made it to professional football, every single guy that's a receiver wants to play that boundary wide receiver spot because they probably used to play in that spot. Everybody gets moved around. Coming up, here's this throw. Undercut to McFadden all over it. And Andre Miller had to play defensive back and did an excellent job of preventing the interception.
I was going to say, great defensive play by the receiver, Andre Miller. As Tavares McFadden was able to sit and wait. This one's coming right at him, and you're going to see Miller pop into the picture. Looking to wrap him up. Big save there by the receiver.
Richie Leone has to send it away. Coverage unit for the Red Blacks led by a Darius Pickett down the field as Janarian Grant makes the first man miss. Now the second cuts it back. And if he wasn't brought down by Alonzo Adai, I think Janarian Grant is in the end zone right now, and this looks like a much different start to the second half. For now, Janarian Grant held for 32 after a 31-3 lead coming out of the break. Grant almost broke this one and changed it all. More from Ottawa right after this.
Pulling into the parking lot and seeing all the fans tailgating and all the excitement in and around this game.
The 20th Banjo Bowl is taking place today. Coming up very shortly here, it is 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific. Catch it only on CTV. CTV is where you can find the Banjo Bowl. Out there with the Riders and the Bombers as David Unger wants to throw it now. Has to pull it down and run away. Bashed it out of bounds. Huge hit. And Davion Taylor from his middle linebacker spot hammers Unger, who had visions of a double pass with Richie Sindani, the intended receiver down the field.
Yeah, wasn't plan A necessarily for David Unger to run with this football, but he made good on plan B. Getting the Argos out close to a first down.
Little run inside here. As Unger, you can see the backwards pass. He tried to flip the hips and pump it, but got away from DeAndre Lamont. Did a good job to get anything out of this play.
Yeah, and always important in those situations. So often the receiver so badly wants to throw the ball that sometimes they'll force it, right? But good decision by Unger when he was under pressure.
Kelly gets it out of his hands here to Richie Sindani. And going nowhere that time, wrapped up right at the original line of scrimmage. Yeah, it sounds like someone who might have been a high school football coach at one point. Has some bad memories of kids deciding to chuck it down the field when nothing was open.
Well, you know, I will tell you, the last year that I coached high school football, we were playing 9-man. And I kind of liked a little run and gun. We actually played with 5 receivers a lot of the time in 9-man football. So, yeah, I'd let my guy throw it. Spread it out.
That's what Canadian football's built for. Kelly will do that here on 2nd and long. Pressure on, gets away from it. Looks to sidearm it, then pumps. Backside goes to Kadeem Carey. Gets a block from Unger, and all the way down inside the 30. As Chad Kelly extends the play long enough that he finally finds somebody on the other end, and it turns out it's his running back.
Yeah, the athleticism of Chad Kelly is, I think, often overlooked, but yeah, using his legs to keep it alive.
Another bubble screen here, working the outside. Richie Sindani gets a block from Unger again. Pushed out of bounds. And if you want to see the type of day it's been for Chad Kelly leading up to this drive, just look at his thigh pads with the amount of blood and everything else that's on there. It has been rough and tumble, but all of a sudden in rhythm.
Yeah, and I think changing up the pace a little bit here, too. A little more in attack mode are the Toronto Argonauts.
Carey alongside Kelly. He'll rip it. This one complete. Putting the shoulder down. Tommy Neal. Touchdown Argos. And Ryan Dinwoody tries to fire up his bench. Throws off the headset. life right now. Tommy Neal trying to give it to him.
A big finish to this play for Tommy Neal. Just a quick slant, gets inside the defender, Damon Webb, and then drops the shoulder on Alonzo Adai at the goal line to get in for the touchdown.
Hiram Hairolahu out for the extra point. For Chad Kelly and the Argonauts offense, they do something they haven't been able to all game long. Maybe with some drier conditions, they find success. 6 plays, 66 yards. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
There you see Tommy Neal reliving the moment with Drew Tate. Neal just running quick slant here. He's got a little bit of space. He's a number 3 defender over there. Is going to be Adai, the free safety. He's off the ball. Webb is chasing it from the outside. The slant, a perfect play call. Kelly puts it on him. He's got a little bit of momentum. Ryan Dinwiddie getting him going over there.
I need a new headset, but I don't think he minds. Just wanted to get some energy into the bench. Great shot from our CFL and TSN crew of the eyes of Chad Kelly. Sneaking a peek left before he went there. Now a big return coming from the Ottawa REDBLACKS out to the 40-yard line. And man, how much would it mean for an opportunity for the Toronto defense to make a play and double down on the early momentum of Tommy Neal going into the end zone?
Well, you think about how Ottawa took over the first half of this football game. It was their defense getting rolling. There's Kevin Ivan, hoping that his crew can return the favor here in the second half.
Drew Brown's been really smart with the football for the most part in this ball game. 9 of 14, 87 yards. Now he's got his 10th completion. Andre Miller, the touchdown maker from earlier on, refuses to go down, and the football is out. Oh, and on top of it, saving the day. He's often the man on the receiving end, but Justin Hardy just made arguably the biggest play of this football game based on the early momentum for the Argos.
Yeah, in terms of momentum, that was huge. So you're going to see Andre Miller working underneath on this one. Good route for him with his size, as you see what he can do after the catch. Running through arm tackles. Got a little loose with the ball, and Benji Franklin, who has been all over the place today, is the guy who pops this one out. Very fortunate Justin Hardy was able to beat a crowd of Argos to the rock.
Well, we've had variable conditions throughout the afternoon. The rain has returned after the Argonauts touchdown. As Brown flips this one out, it is complete. It is Leyburn turning up the field, getting close to the first down. As Falarno Rimolade giving chase from his defensive end spot, but Leyburn showing he can work the wheels out of the backfield, catching the ball.
Yeah, and I like the look of this one because they send both backs out there. That it is essentially like a screen where you're throwing to the flat, but Gosselin also running out there to be the lead blocker. Leyburn knows he's there. That's why he delays, because he's got the kick-out block of the fullback going ahead of him.
We always talk about running backs in the CFL and how you have to be able to pass protect. With the amount of horizontal passing we're seeing now, I almost wonder if they're not going to start scouting more and more receivers based on not how you can catch the ball, how well do you block down the field.
Oh, absolutely.
It is huge these days.
Yeah, no, it's talked about a lot.
Plunge forward here on 2nd and inches, pick up the first down for the REDBLACKS. As we see the REDBLACKS picking away, and the man who's been leading them here today, Kalen LeBurn, playing for my Thundering Herd. Shout out to Charles Huff.
Got your own school.
Chuck McGill and the young Thundering Herd, but certainly one of the better FBS seasons that we've seen.
Yeah, there you see. Number 10 in the country in 2022 after transferring from Florida State. Getting a chance to apply his trade in this Canadian Football League.
Seems like he's enjoying the game so far as Brown has to get it out quickly with pressure on, gets it to Rhymes, and near the first down marker, 2nd and short. But you mentioned the Florida State transfer. Charles Huff, the head coach at Marshall, former recruiter for the Alabama Crimson Tide, clearly has an eye for talent. So this isn't, a guy that came from, not a necessarily major D1 school in Kalen Leyburn. It's a former Florida State player that was recruited by somebody who was very good at going and getting the top talent in the United States. So He's got an opportunity to make a name for himself up here after Raquel Armstead released. Goes back to Leyburn on second and short, right down that near hash. North-south running. As we look a little bit at his time at Marshall, down in Huntington, West Virginia, and all over the field doing the same thing we just saw, hammering it down that hash.
Well, one of the things that has stood out with Leyburn, and you see it in these clips already, the number of yards that he picks up after contact, and a lot of it is that shiftiness or twitchiness that Bob Dice talked about, is you don't get clean shots at him.
Yep. Able to evade tacklers. Likes the width of the field as well because he gets to split the hashes like this. Off to the races and into the end zone. 33 yards for 34. And in his CFL debut, that'll make the Thundering Herd smile.
You make a significant change to your lineup, and you're not really sure how that's going to go. Rock Armstead contributed a lot of yards to this Ottawa offense through the first half of this season. But Kalen Leyburn's CFL debut, no doubt putting some minds at ease here in the nation's capital.
The patience of the run there as well. Just got stuck in behind Ralph Hawley at defensive tackle. Couldn't find him, and then he popped through the line. And his first CFL touchdown, he'll hold on to that football. Kalen Leyburn celebrates.
Come on.
Rightfully so, and the Red Blacks continue to roll here, answering the Argonauts' early third quarter touchdown. It's now a 38-10 ball game. As Kalen Leyburn gets the hammer here in the nation's capital, squeaks through the line of scrimmage, turns on the Jets, stares it down all the way for 6. Kalen Leyburn flexing on him into the end zone. 11 touches, 79 yards, and now a touchdown.
Yeah, a big response drive there for Ottawa after Toronto finally seemed to have a little bit of a spark in this ball game. You mentioned the patience right at the line of scrimmage, making a move, little misdirection at the line of scrimmage as Ottawa had flow going to the right there. Bringing Leyburn back to the left.
Picture time with his starting quarterback as well, as Drew Brown continues to control the offense throughout this game, and Bob Dice looking good right now midway through the third with a 28-point advantage to continue Ottawa's winning ways here at home. Denarian Grant almost got one to the house earlier if he would have broken a tackle. That time the coverage all over it, but does a good job to make his way out to the 43-yard line. As Winnipeg and Saskatchewan about to kick off over on CTV. We won't hold a grudge. You want to go watch the Bombers and the Riders? We understand.
Big CTV network.
Yeah.
Now, I understand this is actually Glenn Suter's first appearance on the national network since he was on season 3, episode 9 of the CTV show The Listener, playing the role of himself.
Monte Coaxey, the intended receiver on that play. You're telling me Suits has been on CTV before?
He's an actor. He has been a true story. I saw the episode.
Look it up.
Yeah. Yeah, he runs into Oz at the hospital, as I recall.
You remember the
I remember the episode. I think Suits gave him Grey Cup tickets.
You can catch him over on CTV right now. The Banjo Bowl getting ready to go. Chad Kelly trying to fight his way back into this game in the East, and this one almost intercepted. Elijah McGee brings down David Unger, but Bennett Williams slipped through the hands. The no gloves defensive back out of Oregon. Maybe wishing he had some sticky stuff on the palms.
Or just that his fingers were about an inch longer, maybe. The way the first half went, this ball would have been picked, but just over the fingertips into the waiting arms of David Unger along the sideline.
Kelly gets a big chunk on that play. Now plays 1st and 10 from the Ottawa side of midfield. Kelly loads it up, takes a shot. Ungerer hangs up in the air. Ungerer came back to it, made the grab, and is brought down at the 7-yard line. David Ungerer out of this lineup early in the season, back in, and now a 45-yard gain.
And Ungerer lined up out wide, off the line of scrimmage, so he can use that waggle, kind of attack the corner with a little bit of momentum. Gets him turned around. And McGee had caught up to him, but you saw because McGee was never settled, he couldn't react to the ball being thrown behind, whereas Ungerer was able to make that adjustment. McGee scrambling to catch up and overrun it.
Ungerer, not the guy they used on their deep shots, but they get a big one there. Kelly now fading to his left, looking into the back of the end zone for Deontay McMahon. Ran into some traffic. If he was clean, he might have caught it at the back corner, but incomplete, and that comes 2nd and goal from the Ottawa 8.
There's some shuffling of personnel there for the Toronto Argonauts. Between 1st and 2nd down.
Lights are on here. Drizzle falling at TD Place. As the 7 and 3 Ottawa REDBLACKS with a 28-point advantage. Trying to get a stop. Double screen. McMahon. They do get it into his hands on 2nd and goal. It's a brick wall at the 5-yard line. Frankie Griffin right there and knocking the chin strap buckles off.
And of course, you don't want to get forced to run sideways. But it looked like McMahon might have had a better opportunity towards the sideline rather than towards the middle after catching that one, as that seemed to be where the receivers were set up to block for.
3rd and goal. Chad Kelly, fade ball for Tommy. Neal incomplete. No flags down. Turnover on downs. And the Argonauts' frustrations continue. Chad Kelly looking for the fade ball to his slot back, Tommy Neal, who had the touchdown to get things going in this 3rd quarter. Kelly picked the spot. Neal tried to get there, spun around, but just too far. Turnover on downs, REDBLACKS football. Then 4 Grey Cup, Gus the Polar Bear, right here in the nation's capital. Awesome, look it up on YouTube. Tommy Neal, slot back, turnover on downs, the incompletion. What were they trying to get to here, Gwen?
Yeah, Neal is working towards the corner. He's got a step there, but with the corner falling off, that window becomes real tight. An overthrow there for Chad Kelly.
A lot of time on the tablet today, looking things over for number 12. Trying to sort his way through this. Baron Miles-led REDBLACKS defense is now, just like at the end of the first half, the end of the 3rd quarter here with 2:37 remaining and that 28-point advantage. Ottawa with a long field in front of them. As Drew Brown breaks the huddle in what is a true 4-point game here in the East Division. These two teams 2nd and 3rd right now behind Montreal in the East. As Andre Miller gets the grab, heads towards the sideline. Benji Franklin ripping for the football. Can't get it out.
And I suspect, given the score, given the time, and obviously given the field position, Ottawa will be somewhat content to play a little bit of small ball in this this portion of the field. Get out of the shadow of the goalpost a little bit, but play it safe in doing so.
Bob Dyson trusting Tommy Condell as offensive coordinator here in Ottawa. See what he calls in moments like this. Miller tightens down to the line of scrimmage, pressure on. Run look. Argonauts knew it was coming. And right in the middle of the pile, Jordan Williams, as they call for some help here. It looks like a REDBLACKS offensive lineman at Zach Pelios. 2nd overall pick back in 2022, down and needs some help.
Feel the need to say anytime we have O-line injuries now, after seeing Casey Sales and Micah Johnson spend a little time having to flip to the offensive side of the ball, Ottawa, team that dresses 6 O-linemen.
Yep.
Fortunate Jacob Ruby is their 6th guy, so a guy who does have some experience playing tackle.
Yeah, plenty of experience as Bob Dice out to help his big right tackle off the field here. They swap out a 2nd overall pick from 22 for an 8th overall pick in 2015. Jacob Ruby on the field. There's Dante Bull as well. You just saw on the sideline as he's on the injured list right now. Out, the former 1st overall pick. Richie Leone will have to punt this away from his own 3-yard line. High spiraling boot drops down to Janarian Grant. This is typically when he starts to heat up in games to get the wheels turning. As he gets hit up high around the 50. It's turned around. Nigel Romick down the field, the athletic defensive end and special teamer, 10-year veteran out of St. Mary's. The first on the scene to try and bring down Janarian Grant.
Yeah, Romick, one of the original Ottawa REDBLACKS out of St. Mary's University.
122 games for Nigel Romick, tying Antoine Pruneau today for the most in REDBLACKS history as well. So congratulations to him. Longtime fan favorite. Chad Kelly wants to throw another deep ball for Tommy. Kneeled up for grabs, incomplete. It was in his hands for a moment. DeAndre Lamont made the play. 7 pass knockdowns on the season, leading the team.
Yeah, big defensive play there for Lamont as he continues to show his value. Chad Kelly puts it on the money here. Perfectly placed. Tommy Neal goes up and gets it, catches it in his hands before DeAndre Lamont wrestles it away.
There's offense on 2nd and 10. Check it down underneath. Kadeem Carey puts his head down, has to get out to the 46-yard line. The initial signal is indeed a 1st down for Toronto. Kelly relying on the running backs out of the backfield as they'll swap out Kadeem Carey for Deonta McMahon here, who they tried to give that score zone target just a few minutes ago.
He just gave it to you.
Quickly back to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10. Kelly again goes to McMahon. And a swing pass underneath and back to the original line of scrimmage. And that will do it for the 3rd quarter of play. There's some big ball of gas trying to make an appearance for us here in the nation's capital. Maybe it'll shine on the Argonauts in the 4th quarter, but it has been a stormy start through 3 quarters for the Double Blue offensively. 38-10. But they get into the end zone with Tommy Neal playing hero, only to be answered by Leyburn in his 1st career CFL touchdown. Not far from TD Place, the Canadian Firefighters Memorial. Here in the nation's capital, it's National Firefighter Memorial Weekend. With more, Claire Hanna.
Well, thank you very much. I'm here with David Sheen. David, we spoke last year. Unfortunately, this was a really devastating year for fallen firefighters. 160 lost their lives. Can you just touch on how dangerous this occupation is?
Well, you know, Claire, I think it goes without saying, when you're adding 160 names, whether it's from occupational illness or traumatic injury, and certainly this year, the wildland firefighters, we have 8 wildland firefighters going on the wall, the most we've ever had in the history of Canada.
And tomorrow you're going to be having the official memorial. I heard there's also a record number of families that are going to be attending, but what does it mean just to even have the recognition here at the CFL game?
Oh, for us, this is awesome. I mean, hopefully it gets the message out to people to show how we as a foundation want to support the families, blanket them in love, and you know, make it special for them.
Thank you very much, David.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, David. And stark reminder of the danger and the people that keep us safe. And all first responders, we thank you for all the work that you do. As Mackay Polk with a big 22-yard gain. And then flags came out and a procedure call here. Toronto in the first half, just 6 first downs. In the 3rd quarter alone, they had 7. So things have certainly gotten better for Ryan Dinwiddie's club as he jogs down to see the first down marker, where his team needs to get now on 1st and 15. Kelly steps forward in the pocket, looks up over the top. Once again, he's going to Tommy Neal into the end zone and knocked away. Coverage supplied again by Lamont. They believe that they got something going on that corner route to Tommy Neal, but just can't close the deal.
Yeah, just ran out of real estate over there again. Real tight window. Neal, the trail receiver here. Will stem to the inside, break to that corner. You see again, Lamont doing just enough to prevent him from holding onto that ball.
Kelly on 2nd and 15. Open shot now to Neal, and he'll miss it wide. Again, Lamont right there, one-on-one. And they'll hold the offense on the sideline, or the kicking team, I should say, for a moment. And now they do come off with Liram Hajrullahu. So a couple of misses there. End the drive for the Argonauts. Another one that looked promising but couldn't close it.
Yeah, just basically a quick out here from Neal. Kelly leading him a little bit too far.
And the speed with which Kelly throws the football, though, when it hits the wet turf, it accelerates. Flies an extra 40 yards down the sideline as Liram Hajrullahu from 35 yards away tags on 3 more points and improves his near league best make percentage on the season. 38-13 is the score now, 13:55 remaining. Hajrullahu with the NFL back in full swing, spent a couple of seasons trying to latch onto a roster down south and was unable to do so. Comes back up here and happy to be back in the Canadian Football League doing what he loves.
Yeah. Always amazed when you see some of the kickers in this league, and particularly their successes. Liram Hajrullahu, Lewis Ward, Rene Paredes, all undrafted. Yeah. Right? In a league where we talk so much about the importance of the kicking game. You know, Sean White, another guy, came through junior football.
Liram should have been the Cowboys kicker, but we'll get into that later. Outside handoff here. And Jamal Morrow back into the ball game. Stepping in his 2nd series. The one he was on earlier led to a touchdown pass to Andre Miller. We'll see what they can do here with Morrow in the backfield.
And you'll see Isaac Darkangelo getting the start at middle linebacker for Toronto today. Just mirroring the football, getting over there to make a play.
With all those great seasons in Saskatchewan, trying to see the veteran running back lining up against the fresh-faced middle linebacker of the Argonauts here today, Darkangelo. His pressure on, Brown has to get rid of it, finds Dominique Grimes, and he slides down. You're wrapped up by Benji Franklin into that boundary, needed to get to the 50, and we'll see where they spot the football. Looks like it's going to be just about half a yard shy, so 3rd down and 1. A 38-13 advantage. The offense stays on and goes quickly. Drew Brown stays in, and it looks like, yeah, procedure
movement, yeah.
That'll be a jump by the REDBLACKS, and now we will see the kicking team.
The play was never whistled in, and play does not count. It's 3rd down. The play was not whistled in. The play did not count. It's 3rd down.
Well, we saw that from Chad Kelly on Labor Day Monday as well in Hamilton, trying to get the snap as quickly as possible, but took the snap before it could be whistled in. And they basically just reset everything and go again, so it actually saves Ottawa from the procedure call. And all sorts of substitutions on both sidelines right now.
Well, it gives Ottawa a chance to get Dustin Crum in the short yardage unit on the field to go for it.
And situational football, right? These are the opportunities to try and work on some of these things, because 6 of the last 7 games for the REDBLACKS are against the East Division. They control their own destiny. They've only played 2 games against the East. It's hard to imagine we're beyond Labor Day, and they've played 2 games against the East Division, but Ottawa has had success against the West, 6-2, which has helped them get to this point of being 7-3 on the season. But they're really going to close this out with a bunch of playoff previews.
A great opportunity to build in terms of that intensity as they come down the stretch.
And a team that has to learn a little bit of what playoff football is going to look like before they actually get to playoff football as well. So playing here at home, Dustin Crum under center. Expect to see him in short yardage in the playoffs as they'll be very close. We'll see where they spot the football. Toronto believes they got the stop. Crum kind of backed his way into this one. And Royce Mechie, the free safety, believes, and yeah, I don't think that football is touching the 50-yard line. So if it's not going to reach the white paint, that's going to be a couple chain links short.
You saw Crum plunge straight into the middle and then kind of half spin off to the right-hand side. And with that in mind, recognize that the ball was not the farthest forward point. You think a guy's often reaching with the ball to try and get that first down yardage. He's kind of coming sideways or almost backwards, as you said.
Well, now the football's actually been moved forward, and it looks like it is close to touching that white 50-yard line. So not sure where they shifted the spot on it. The original one was shy, but we'll see what the measurement is here as Marco Dubois watches on right between the benches alongside Jake Ceresna, Mickey Donovan, and his head coach Bob Dice. They'll pull the sticks out, and Toronto gets the stop. Just barely. Dustin Crum, first snap of the ball game, got turned around. Mark Melton right there. Fraser Sopik, Royce Mechie, and his first start all year long beginning right now. Saskatchewan Winnipeg is live over on CTV. It is the Banjo Bowl, the Riders and the Bombers going at it after a fantastic Labor Day weekend game between those two teams. They renewed rivalries, and then of course coming up later on, the Stamps and the Elks as Logan Bonner gets himself a starting quarterback, and this one high, just like in the first half from Chad Kelly. The drizzle returns, and the Bugaboos out of the right hand from number 12 return at the same time.
Yeah, another one that certainly got away.
Hey, Ryan, if I do this, that means you guys are going.
Deflection prevents Alonzo Adai from getting a hand on that one.
Rush on 2nd and 10. Escapes pressure, rolls to his right. Aiden John tries to get there. He does. Big hit on the completion. Shy of the first down marker. Richie Sindani was working for it. And finally gave his quarterback an escape route, but Aiden John working at defensive end here today.
Yeah, coming from the top of your screen. You see Aiden John spying it.
Watch the white, watch the white.
Offense will stay on the field. Go to work 3rd and 4 from the Ottawa 44. Pressure right down the barrel coming at Kelly. Incomplete, but Damon Webb got there early on Mackay Pope. The first half hero with 2 pick sixes. The guilty party on this one.
Pass interference, Ottawa number 9. That's an automatic first down.
Chapdelaine working as an official, having a conversation with Webb there.
Mackay Polk, the intended receiver, on the play as he comes across Webb. Looking for number 3, trying to get a bit of a jump on things there, but impeding the receiver with that arm out in front.
You see turf all over the inside of the helmet there. Chad Kelly, after being tackled by Aiden John, is now Dan Anababoye. That's the play action fake in the backfield. Kelly flips it out. David Unger and gets pushed out of bounds at the 20-yard line. So Unger piecing together a nice afternoon with another gain here of 14 yards.
Yeah, Unger, former Hamilton draft pick. They got a much bigger opportunity here in Toronto.
5 catches, 88 yards for Unger. DeMonte Coxey back into the fray, cuts back, makes 2 men miss into the end zone. Where has that been all game? Touchdown
Well, terrific effort there after the catch by DeMonte Coxey. And the missed tackles will drive Baron Miles and Bob Dice a little nuts over on that Ottawa sideline. It looked like they had him stopped short. Right there, McGee had him wrapped, but Coxey able to spin out of it and fight his way into the end zone. Keeping the Argos alive in this ballgame.
5 REDBLACKS were within range. Nobody could bring down DeMonte Coxey. So now they'll go for 2. Annabelle Boyd swings out, quarterback drop. Chad Kelly walks it in and tag a couple more on for Kelly in the Argos offense here. 38 points for the REDBLACKS. The Toronto defense has got to get a couple of stops. But now up to 21 thanks to DeMonte Coxey. Breaking tackles, running through the Adarius Pickett effort, and Chad Kelly walks in the 2-point. 38-21. Into the end zone. Everybody was around him. Nobody could bring him down.
Yeah, Coxey, the outside man in this trip set to the wide side, just working to the sideline. Again, Elijah McGee looked like he had him wrapped up. Coxey able to spin away from that one. Broke another tackle en route to the end zone.
This return from Jamal Morrow, getting an opportunity in the return game. Tunde Adeleke pushes him out of bounds. As Morrow a little bit slow up onto his feet. So shaking off the cobwebs and limps his way across the field with a little bit of help from his friends.
Jamal Morrow showing some of his added value on the rosters. Backup running back, also able to chip in that return game.
Morrow gets looked at on the sideline while Drew Brown and the REDBLACKS offense back on the field. Brown pumps, now looks over the top. Andre Miller, back shoulder, perfect placement from Drew Brown. He and Miller have got something going here this afternoon. Through all of the receiver injuries, with Addison out and Acklin out, Miller steps in and gets some chemistry with the starting quarterback on throws like this.
A terrific catch here as Miller kind of launches himself back on that throw behind twist, but very clearly had his hands underneath it to hold on for the completion.
16 yards there as Brown goes back to the shotgun. Comes up, rolls to his right, quick throw. Leyburn heads for the Ottawa sideline as his running back mate Jamal Morrow in the injury tent right now on that same side. And looks like Drew Brown's having a little bit of fun out here in the drizzle this afternoon. A lot of smiling between snaps, so why not with 38 points on the board?
Yeah, some new faces. I think he's excited to see those guys get involved and have things click for them. Andre Miller and Kalen Leyburn in particular. Eli Stove out there as well, getting his second start in that receiving corps.
Five-man rush from the Argos. Dominique Grimes wide open on the crosser, running away from Robert Priester to the 25, steps out of bounds at the 20-yard line. First down, REDBLACKS as Ramos fires up the crowd for a gain of 22.
Well, this is a demonstration of exactly why you run the crossing type routes. You see Rhymes coming right to left on your screen. Priester's got to sort things out through traffic underneath there and is just unable to stay with him.
Play clock whistled in. Inside 9 minutes remaining in this ball game, and Ottawa happy to snap it with only a few seconds left on the clock each play. Winding down the Argonauts' chances. Brown drop, looks to the end zone, over the top, up for grabs and knocked away. There's that man again, Benji Franklin against Justin Hardy.
Well, Franklin had position on this one all the way. It's Hardy on the outside looking for the pass breakup. Just right down the sideline, you see Franklin inside position running with him. He's got a beat on the ball. Hardy's the one who's got to reach around to ensure that that one doesn't get picked.
It's a couple of times today that Ottawa receivers have had to play defensive back against Benji Franklin. Puts himself in such good positions as Brown looks to the crossing route to Rhymes again. They try to go back to the well, and this time hacked down. Priester came up and made the play as the undersized tweener, halfback, outside linebacker, playing with speed, and gets to the lower body of Dominique Rhymes before he can pick up the first down.
Yeah, Rhymes working left to right this time across the formation, but finds Priester waiting for him rather than chasing in this instance.
Milton finishes it out as well. His first year out of Baylor here in the Canadian Football League. So from 24 yards away, Lewis Ward tries to cross the 40-point mark for the Red Blacks today. 3 of 3 already. Through the wind and the drizzle, doesn't matter what side of the field he's on, Lewis Ward is money. 4 for 4 and 41 points on the board here in the fourth for the Ottawa Redblacks as they look as though they are on their way to moving to 8-3 on the season. Bob Dice over the last couple of years, just 5-29 at home in the previous 4 seasons, but about to move to 6-0-1 if they hold on to this 20-point advantage in the fourth quarter. Why? Why? I mean, what is the reason that they have been so dominant here at home all of a sudden?
Well, I think it's about their season in general and what we talked about off the top.
Monte Coxie makes the grab, pushed out of bounds.
Just the combination of both stability and depth that they've had at the quarterback position. Like, you think about how different the last couple of years might have been in Ottawa had Jeremiah Masoli not been injured 2 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. As Kelly rolls out to his left, finds Mackay Pope, and is brought down. Frankie Griffin finishes off the Damon Webb tackle there. But yeah, having Jeremiah Masoli injured obviously has changed the course of their last couple of seasons. But Drew Brown coming over, Jeremiah into the fray, Tyree Adams stepping up at times, Dustin Crum filling in.
Yeah, well, you look, I mean, Crum, Masoli, and Brown have all sort of contributed points for the Ottawa Redblacks this season.
Done a good job of building the roster out around it. Bring Dominique Rhymes home, if you want to call it that, from where he was before after going to BC. Javon Santos knocks the seat on crutches in the background there, but he's been great for them at middle linebacker. Return game's gotten better, built out the special teams through the draft.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, adding a guy on defense like Darius Pickett can change the complexion of your team a little bit, not just on the field, but in terms of attitude, work ethic, confidence as well.
3rd and 2, handed off, but Darius Pickett almost made the stick, and everybody else had to come to the rescue. Pickett first on the scene, but the physicality he brought over from the Toronto Argonauts on clear display there. And we heard this week, Dwayne, about, yeah, when Darius is on the field in practice, he plays 100% all the time, and it's so he can make plays like that.
And here you'll see him come flying into the backfield. Beats his man to the inside to meet Kadeem Carey. Carey able to get through that one. But Pickett slowed him up enough to allow the cavalry to get there and snuff out that Argonaut drive.
What was that he said about pads click-clacking?
Yeah.
he makes them clack pretty loud when he makes plays like that. Drew Brown in the offense. Back on the turf. 20-point advantage after the Lewis Ward field goal. And a double caught ball by Justin Hardy. He's trying to spin away from tacklers. D'Arcangelo helps out Royce Mechie to bring him down. But Hardy, another one of those that great history and pedigree in the NCAA at East Carolina. Atlanta Falcons just catches 1,000 balls no matter where he goes. And he's brought that to this Red Blacks offense.
Yeah, different skill set in terms of what he brings to the offense, but I would describe Justin Hardy was Austin Mack before Austin Mack. You know, a guy coming with some NFL experience, but really recognizing where he was when he was here, when he arrived in the CFL.
This one trying to fit it into a real tight window for Eli Stowe. Fraser Sopik flying out from his weak side linebacker spot. So the turnover on downs thanks to a Darius Pickett, then a 2-and-out. So the Toronto defense does get a stop inside 5 minutes remaining in the ballgame.
Yeah, Ottawa would have loved to have bled a little more time off the clock with that drive, narrowing the Argonauts' opportunities. But they'll have an opportunity here with a good cover on Janarian Grant to at least force the Argos to go a long way to score.
Spiraling boot drops down to Janarian Grant. They've done a good job of trying to contain him throughout the day. And a couple of missed tackles here. Marco Dubois almost had him. Ty Cranston close as well. Janarian Grant continues to put good field position out there for the offense as week 14 of the CFL and TSN wraps up tonight. Stamps head to Edmonton to take on the Elks. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. The headliner of that one, obviously, Jake Mayer, benched.
Yeah, Calgary looking for a spark, essentially making a change. Jake Mayer over the last couple of years has been the only quarterback starting every game.
Yeah. Behind only Garcia and Burris, I believe.
Consecutive starts.
Yeah, so that'll be snapped in that ball game as Logan Bonner gets the start, and this one knocked away. Once again, receivers forced to play defensive back as Elijah McGee took a run at it. Mackay Polk able to get what should go down as a pass knockdown if he were a defensive back.
Yeah, I mean, McGee was fully in front of this one. Polk comes from behind him. Making a play on that ball.
And a challenge flag comes out. And what is Bob Dice looking for here?
Ottawa is challenging for offensive pass interference on the previous play. The play will be reviewed.
Oh, the rare offensive pass interference challenge, Dwayne. This game has it all.
And for Bob Dice, this is all about making a long field longer at this stage, right? 20-point lead. You don't want to give any life.
I mean, I joke about it, but it is one of those things where there's kind of this culture of anytime a defensive back touches a receiver, well, that's DPI.
Flag, yeah.
Anytime there's a bad throw, that an offensive player scratches and claws and holds and clutches and grabs, and everyone goes, well, that's just a great play.
Yeah.
So Bob Dice is trying to change the narrative on us here.
I don't think there's a lot of question that if you're treating the DB as the receiver and the receiver as the DB on this one, he was there early.
Replay official is Al Bradbury as he looks it over. And the city that leads poncho sales.
They seem to.
Across the Canadian Football League, Ottawa, undefeated with the poncho sales. Let's get the call.
After review by the command center, pass interference, Toronto number 15. This is a 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Late in the game, I think Bob Dice feeling like this might be the best opportunity to gain benefit from a challenge that he was going to have down the stretch.
That is enough.
Chad Kelly, 1st and 20 after the offensive pass interference review, and a sack. Talk about making a long field longer. There's Lorenzo Malden alongside Cleon Lang.
5th sack on the game for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Lorenzo Malden. Top of your screen. Working against Dejon Allen.
Gets out a little screen. This time Kadeem Carey's got running room. Bennett Williams trying to bring him down and add a little bit of water to this CFL playing surface. Everyone gets real slippery real quick. DeMonte Coxey showed that on the Argonauts touchdown earlier, and Kadeem Carey sliding away from tacklers that time for a gain of 17. And they'll go here once again. 3rd and 7. Chad Kelly, quick snap. Looks like they had to get to the 40, and the spot should get it the first down. As they take a look at it, put the spot down. Yep. Snap comes up as they move the chains. Kelly crossing around. Richie Santani incomplete.
Davian Taylor providing the coverage, middle linebacker.
And we have hit the 3-minute warning here in the nation's capital. The Red Blacks looking to move to 8-3 on the year. Gain an advantage over the Argonauts. Looks like Ottawa will have a 5-point lead for second in the East with their eyes on a home playoff game. Line play, then you've come to the right place.
Big day for the Ottawa Red Blacks. Lorenzo Malden, Cleon Lang, Mike Wakefield, Kenny Onyeka, Wes Mantala, Aiden John, Nigel Remick. Did I get them all?
I think so. The Red Blacks only dress backup defensive ends from St. Mary's. That's the rule. Once again, Aiden John. There you go. St. Mary's in the house.
Daniel Opoko.
Chad Kelly has been harassed from start to finish of this one, and nothing changing here inside 3 minutes remaining.
Just a speed rush around the edge from Aiden John.
Argonauts go quickly once again. Kelly steps up, throws across his body, intended for Tommy Neal, incomplete. And he threw it past the original line of scrimmage as well, adding a little salt to the wounds.
Yeah, tough to be accurate throwing completely across your body, even on a short one such as that.
Bob Dice says he has no interest in accepting the penalty. I get the sense that Darius Pickett is enjoying this one just as much as William Stanback did last night against Montreal.
Yeah. First down, Ottawa.
Hey, let him get a city time. Let him get a city time. Hey, man, shout out Halifax. Shout out everybody back home, man. Hey, hold on. Let me see the face. Hey, this is everybody back home. It's been a long time coming, man. Shout out Halifax.
There you go. Touchdown Pacific last week. With the Red Blacks involved, but the Atlantic getting a shout out here.
Little East Coast love.
Love that. Drew Brown still in the ball game. Hands it out, chopped down. Good tackle that time on Kalen Laybourne. There's Fraser Sopik flying around and having a little word with the Ottawa bench.
Well, Fraser Sopik. Terrific free agent signing for the Toronto Argonauts, a guy who's always been sort of a situational package guy in Calgary and Hamilton. Getting to play some more snaps here in Toronto this season, more of a full-time player, that weak side linebacker spot. Obviously, fantastic university resume. Former President's Trophy winner. He's a top defensive player in U Sports football.
Don't quit on that guy, no matter how late it is, what the score is. Over the top, Dominique Rhymes, and it's punched in. What a play! Mark Milton got the football out, and Benji Franklin has his hands on it. On a day where Franklin has been absolutely everywhere on this football field, despite 41 points on the board for the Red Blacks. No fault of Franklin's, and what a play as it looked like Rhymes was about to stroll into the end zone.
Previous play is under review by the command center.
Yeah, maybe looking at how, if he had possession long enough to be a completion, but great call anticipating what they were going to get for Ottawa, but great reaction there by Mark Milton to get over and prevent the touchdown. This should be a completed pass based on what we saw. Rhymes secures it, turns upfield, had control of it. Great strip there, punched directly down.
Center, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's first down.
What a punch out by Mark Milton to prevent Ottawa from really stacking it on and getting close to a 50-burger in this one. The Argonauts offense, turnover on downs. They get the football back. Kelly from his own end zone. So many sacks today. Loads it up down the field, and it's dropped. Tough conditions here, but Mackay Polk had a chance, and Kelly never shy to take a shot.
Yeah, Polk adjusted well to the ball, put himself in position to make the catch. And Kelly, despite some ups and downs today, terrific throw there, but falls incomplete.
For all the misses and inaccuracy, the fact that Chad Kelly just put that ball on a rope flat-footed from his own end zone out to the 45. I mean, it's once in a while he makes those throws that just stun. This one will get punched up into the air, incomplete, dangerously near the end zone. As again, you get a sense the Red Blacks would love to ice this game with a third pick six of Chad Kelly. And the offense looks like they're staying on 3rd and 10 from their own 3-yard line.
Watch for Davian Taylor coming from behind the goalpost here. Getting a piece of that one.
What's in the playbook in this situation? Kelly, 4-man rush, rips it underneath the uprights out to the 12-yard line. And maybe give him a little bit more than that. It looked like
yeah, it's going to be close.
Was winding his way back towards the 10, but the spot is going to make it very close.
And they're moving the sticks.
And Bob Dice is asking how they can move the sticks without taking a closer look at it, but 20-point advantage, minute 42. Dice fighting for every inch, just like the rest of these players out here, winding this one down. In week 14 as Polk makes another grab, sitting down in between zones.
Toronto's taking what they can get here. Ottawa's just, again, going to make them wear down that clock. We'll give you yards, but you're going to eat up time to get them.
And settling down is Tommy Neal. Big hit this time. Frankie Griffin flying out from his linebacker spot. You get the sense that Chad Kelly's passing yardage total at the end of this day is likely not going to match what the performance felt like. But some big shots, and then moments like this where Ottawa plays soft and allows everything underneath, and when he takes it, and they get a lot of yardage out of it. This one will go over the top, and it'll hang up too. As Coxie trying to high point it, and he does. What a grab by DeMonte Coxie. Told us this week some of his favorite receivers, Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, loves high pointing the football.
Well, yeah, I mean, he talked about practicing this stuff in high school, that this was a game that they played. Basically a free-for-all. All the receivers lined up at one end of the field with the quarterback throwing Hail Marys. Everybody had to fight for it.
Gain of 40 on this play as flags come up all over the place. At the snap, David Unger makes the catch.
David Unger may be 5'10", a $175, but he does play like he's 6'2", 200.
Yeah. Yeah, he battles, no doubt, and gets lots of targets as well as the Red Blacks. Going backwards here on this drive, converting a 3rd and 10 from their own 3 to the Argonauts, and now all the way inside the 30 of Ottawa.
Decline, the gain is greater. First down.
Tim Croker, the referee, sorts that one out. Everyone resets. They'll whistle this in as we head towards a minute remaining in the ballgame. Argonauts trailing by 20, not giving up. Kelly looking for a deep shot, rolling across the field, trying to find Adeboboye, and couldn't hold on.
To give a little love to Toronto center Peter Nicastro. Yeah, Labor Day brain cramp for me.
It's not brain cramp. I mean,
it's my years running together where I suggested that he missed last season when he had actually missed the 2022 season due to injury. Started at guard last year, bumped from center to guard. Back at center this year.
There's Unger fighting through the middle of the field, tackled down around the 5-yard line. As Nicastro and the rest of that offensive line giving Chad Kelly some good time to operate now.
I mean, Argo's doing what they have to do in the circumstance here. Very lightly, too little, too late.
Kelly fires one into the end zone, rolling to his right, and finds DeMonte Coxie with 50 seconds remaining. The Argonauts just keep chipping away. They've gotten close at various points in this ballgame of securing momentum, building something special early on in the third quarter. 107-yard drive. And it's finished with DeMonte Coxie in the end zone, as now they'll go for 2. So Ryan Dinwiddie kicks the special teams unit off the field and looks back to his play sheet for the 2-point.
And fitting that it would be Coxie scoring the touchdown, as he had the big catch on that drive that got them the chunk that they needed, given the battle against time that they're facing here. But you know, you look at a couple of plays in this game, or a couple of turnovers, one on downs, but also a pick 6 in the first half where the Argos are in scoring position. As they make this game closer, could have been a very different game.
Kelly working the pocket and throwing an interception. Elijah McGee hauls it in as Kelly off the mark on that one. So a 41-27 game. And Elijah McGee, the lucky recipient of another Chad Kelly interception here this afternoon. And now the special teams units will go to war on the kickoff. Bob Dice, one of the best special teams minds in the game. Mickey Donovan working things over with his squad as well as they talk it through.
Yeah, no surprise as to what's coming here. It's all about execution. When you're the hands team, you've got a couple of guys that you want handling the football, and you want everybody else blocking. Everybody's got a responsibility to keep those couple of receivers clean.
Tim Croker, the referee, walking over to talk to Ottawa as well. Make sure everybody understands the rules of engagement on the onside. Ryan Dinwiddie hoping for another possession with his team still trailing 41-27. Liram Hairolahu put this one on the tee. Marco Dubois staying there alongside Dominique Grimes. Blessman Teala are on the front line for the Red Blacks as well, trying to protect and secure. This ball hangs up around the 10-yard mark. Grimes goes up, gets it, high point. And just like DeMonte Coxie did a minute ago, Grimes, who probably should have had a touchdown if it wasn't punched out by Mark Milton, will help the Red Blacks wind this one down and move to 8-3. As for the first time, with 49 seconds remaining, we see a patch of blue sky breaking through, which kind of feels like the Red Blacks breaking through here to be a 6-0-1 team at home after being 5-29 in the previous 4 seasons.
You know, I want to talk about Marco Dubois on special teams a little bit, and we've seen him a couple times over the years, including last week. Watch him here. He's kind of the personal protector, right? Anything that seeps through, he goes and gets it. DeMonte Coxie is a guy that Toronto's trying to free up to have a shot at that ball. Dubois did a great job finding him. Great special team or whatever's asked of him.
Leyburn tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, will be just short. But Marco Dubois kind of feels like the fixer, doesn't he? Like any special team situation, it's like you need him to chase someone 100 yards, he's your guy. You need him to save the day. You need a catch, you need a fake punt, he's your guy. Whatever you need, Marco's the guy. Yeah,
he delivers, and this was his reputation, not necessarily a full-time guy in college at Laval, but a second-round pick on the premise that he was not only the best special teams player in the draft, but a guy that you knew could have an immediate and lasting impact on special teams in the Canadian Football League, and he has done just that.
I remember being at the Grey Cup, Ottawa, Calgary, back in 2018, I believe, when it was in Edmonton. Marco came up to me and said, I want to say thank you for all the nice things you've said about me on special teams. It's really helped my career advance. And I said, Marco, I'm just pointing out how great you are. I'm not telling stories.
Yeah, just telling the truth.
I'm not trying to blow up your tires. I'm like, you're a great player, man. Well, he's proven that for a long time here in the CFL, and he's a big part of what is a very good football team in the nation's capital. Dice, baby.
The unbeaten streak here at home continues.
6-0-1. And they are now 8-3 on the season with Bob Dice at the controls. Damon Webb, not one but two pick sixes of Chad Kelly. And Kelly quickly exits stage left after a 41-27 defeat to the hands of the Ottawa Redblacks. Now 8-3-1, and 6 of their last 7, now 5 of their last 6 against teams from the East Division as they expand their lead to 5 points over the Toronto Argonauts. As a great day of CFL football continues and rolls on. The Banjo Bowl going on right now. It'll be the Stamps and the Elks coming up later on for you, as the Redblacks continue to prove, especially after the Montreal loss against the BC Lions last night, they're for real in the East Division and maybe even a Grey Cup contender heading down the stretch here of the CFL season. For Dwayne Ford, Claire Hanna, I'm Marshall Ferguson. Thanks so much for watching.